I have so many books to show you today, and it's very exciting but slightly concerning, and this may need to be two parts because this is such a big haul, it's not even funny. Hi guys, my name is KSG and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Upside Down Books. I am back. I've been gone, but here I am and I'm ready to make some more videos. I've only been gone a couple of weeks in all fairness. I was away on holiday in Europe. I had a fabulous time, but we did not have enough time to talk about it, and that's not why you're here anyway. So hello, hi, how you doing? Let's have a look at these books. I did not get around to filming my December book haul / Christmas book haul before I left on holiday, so I am currently left with this predicament here, trying to decide whether this is all going to go in one video. There's so many books surrounding me right now, I'm feeling claustrophobic, it's like leaning in on me. So I'm just going to start plowing, that's a bad word. So I'm just going to start pushing through all these books. I'm going to start with the ones from December and Christmas, move my way forward to what I bought in January whilst I was traveling and books that I've received, and we are going to see whether I'm going to need to split the video up. So literally, let's just dive right in. The first book that I have to show you is the book I'm currently reading, which is The Boy Who Followed His Father into Auschwitz, which was sent to me by Penguin. And I'm really excited because I do not receive, in fact this may be the first book I've received from Penguin, so it's super exciting. This one is a very interesting, very factual book. It's obviously about Auschwitz. It's about a father and a son who went in at the very beginning. They are Viennese? They're from Vienna in Austria, and they survive. They come out at the end, and that is the story. It's fully like factual, but it's written like a narrative. So it does have footnotes and referencing in it, but you obviously don't need to read either if you don't want to, so it does just read like a book. Really emotional so far, not very far in, but I think it's going to be a fantastic read. The next book I received was Harlequin, and that is 29 Dates by Melissa de la Cruz, which is super exciting because it's Melissa de la Cruz and she is quite a popular YA author. This one follows a South Korean character, and I think she goes on a bunch of like dating with another guy, and there's all sorts of stuff happening. I don't know, go read the blurb yourself if you're interested. I'm hoping to get around to this one at some point, but I have so many books to read that might sit on my shelf for a little bit longer before I don't know. Moving on. The next book I have was also from Harlequin, and that is Even If I Fall by Abigail Johnson. Now I think this one is going to be a little bit more serious. So in this one, the main character's older brother confesses to the murder of his best friend, and then the girl who is the main character starts to form a friendship, and I think potentially a romance with the dead guy's brother, basically, and it's all a little bit like, oh, that was a bit Romeo and Juliet. So I think this is, I'm getting like Gail Forman vibes from this. If you've read even I Was Here and Where She Went and all those other books. So hopefully I get around to this one at some point as well. Shockingly, there are also two books that I was sent to review and have already read and reviewed, which is awesome, in December, and that was The Wicked King by Holly Black, the sequel to The Cruel Prince. Absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorite series at the moment. Cannot recommend enough if you haven't already picked it up. This did not disappoint at all. And then there was White Stag by Karen Barbieri. Struggling with that surname, but this was really interesting. It's all about goblins, but they look a little bit more like traditional fae. Really cool, really sort of a bit more gritty than fae, and this was, I believe, actually something that Karen wrote on Wattpad, and it became so famous, not famous, but popular, sort of like Susan E's Angel Fall, that it got published. This is really good, highly recommend it, super enjoyed everything that goes down in this book. So I think those were all the ones that I got sent. Oh, there it is. I thought I'd misplaced this book. I just spent so long trying to find it and it was in my pile anyway. The Ruin of Kings is another one. I have a very unfinished copy of it. I've also started reading it and I've read the first 123 pages but had to put it down for a break because the font is really small in the edition I have. I'm not seeing this size being sold. It's now out in the shops, but this one is a very interesting sort of epic fantasy Patrick Rothfuss styled writing of a saga or a tale of this guy who's in prison about how he got there. Very complex world, really cool, can't wait to get back into it. I just need to not be traveling because this was like the wrong thing to pick up when I was like, oh, look at all the sightseeing I'm doing and then I'm going to read a really heavy book. That didn't work, but I'm going to try picking it up now that my life is a little bit more calm. Those are all the books that I got sent in December. These are all the books that I got given for Christmas. I had an enormous I had an enormous Christmas haul. It was insane. And I was thrilled because I asked everyone for books. I have my wish list out and I was like, guys, this is what I want. And people really did give me books. So I have some awesome new additions to my TBR, which is creaking under the weight of how many books I have to read, but it's pretty exciting. Okay, so the first book I'm going to show you is a non-fiction one that's very heavy. I forgot how heavy it was. That is Cities of the World, which is by George Braun and Franz Hogenberg. This is a very cool book. Okay, so inside this there are lots and lots of different maps of cities from a long time ago, and I think it is a rebinding and a sort of fresh look to a book that was published about 400 years ago. So the content in here is really old, and the guy who has redone this, or the guys that did this edition that I'm holding here, they've put in new commentary and stuff, but everything has been kept from the original, and I just have had my eye on this for a while because I think it's super interesting. It's not something to sit down and read back to front, it's just something to dip into, but I find it such a cool concept, and all of the old maps are really vintage, super old, so it's just really nice to look at them. But that was a really lovely present to be given. And because I know you're all curious, it has a very simple naked cover. It's just got the title on the front, which is a bit unusual, and then that on the side. I can't get the cover back on. The next book that I got was from my sister, and that is The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. Really popular Russian-inspired fantasy, bit of a competition between two magical people. People have been loving this, and I'm really excited to finally have a copy of it so that I can start reading it somewhere in amongst all the other new books that I've got. But yeah, I think you've probably seen this one before, but if not, then go check it out, because this is one of the ones, this is definitely something I think is worth reading, even though I haven't read it yet. The next book I have to show you is Church of Marvels by Leslie is Church of Marvels. No. The next one I have to show you is Church of Marvels by Leslie Parry. This one I have wanted to get for a long time because I love the cover, and I've always thought it very eye-catching. It follows like a group of like different characters, so it's a little bit all over with winding it all together. I think there's magic in it, and it's in like a lunatic asylum, all sorts of things going on. I would have a read of the blurb yourself just to get a feel of the atmosphere that the vibes that they're sending out, but this I think will be a good read. I then got a book called Sorcerer to the Crown. Nice and shiny. And that's by Zen Cho. I have not seen much about this, but I think this one is set in London, at Regency London, and there is some magic and the fairy court and all things like that. So that sort of thing, urban fairy fantasy. Really excited about it. Lots of people haven't read this. I've seen like this is one of these like niche books where everyone who's read it seems to have really enjoyed it. So I'm really excited to dive in and hopefully join in on the hype. So I then received Vicious, which was from my boyfriend's mum, and this is obviously a V.E. Schwab book. This is my first V.E. Schwab book. Bless, I finally joined the bandwagon. And I'm so excited to read it. I cannot wait to see what her writing is like and see what all the fuss is about. So I will definitely be picking this up sometime soon in the future. Yeah, to get in on what's happening with the Schwab world. I then got a new release from my parents, which was The Empire of Sand, or just Empire of Sand, no the, by Tasha Suri, and I love the cover for this one. The sword that is on it is gorgeous, and it was one of these books I was anticipating and really wanted to get, so I was excited when it was in my stocking for Christmas. This one is a girl that's like stuck between two cultures, and there's like her empire, and she's gonna decide what to do best for it. So her father comes from the ruling class in the empire, but her mother worships the sand spirits, or spirits of the sand. They try to force her into an arranged marriage, and all sorts of things go down. So I think we're gonna have like a really badass character in this one, and I am quite excited to dive in. For some reason I am fully expecting the same sort of vibes from the main character in The Wrath and the Dawn, but I can't remember her name now. That one. I then also received from my sister First Life by Gina Showalter, and I'm excited about this one because I love the concept of it. The whole hourglass thing and time thing and the way that this world works is super exciting. So if you're not familiar with this yet, definitely go and have a read of the blurb so that you can join me in my excitement of finally owning a copy so that I can jump into the world. I got a voucher from my uncle to go book shopping. Like literally everyone was giving me books. This is why this haul is so big. So I took myself to the local bookstore and I bought Autobiography by Christina Lauren. Heard nothing but good things from this, about this even, and I love the cover and I'm very excited to dive into it, so this was obviously something that I had to have on my TBR. One book that I received from my parents, which I've already read, was The Gilded Cage by Lucinda Gray. This was fantastic. It's like a little London murder mystery set in like 1800s. Absolutely brilliant. Quite a short read, and I have the hardback, which is nice. Plain, nothing too fancy on that one. But this was absolutely fantastic. It has very mixed reviews on Goodreads because it's very surface, like it's not a very like in-depth book, and I think you could definitely flesh it out, but if you just enjoy it for what it is, this book is just a brilliant binge read. Then the next two books I also got with that voucher that my uncle got me, and that is Dry by Neil Shusterman, and I have just finished reading what's it called? Scythe. I've just finished reading Scythe, loved it, loved his writing style, very excited to read some new fiction from him because he's definitely an author that I should have read before now. So if you haven't tried any of Neil Shusterman's books yet, then I can say with 100% confidence that he is worth it. The other book that I got was Tiger's Dream by Colleen Houck. Very excited about this. I had no idea this was out in Australia and in bookstores, so when I saw it in the bookstore, I absolutely had to get it. So this was such a thrill. This is book 5 in my favourite series ever that I did not think I would ever get the chance to finish, and now I can. It's an absolute chunky down cover book, which is intimidating, but I'm so excited. Another book that I received was Navigating the Stars by Maria V. Snyder. I was really excited when I heard about this one because the main character is the daughter of like famous archaeologists, and they find terracotta warriors on other planets, and I just think it sounds ridiculous and exciting. It's quite big. It's bigger than I was expecting, but I think that it's going to be a good laugh, but maybe it's serious. I don't know. We'll find out. And the final book that I got for Christmas was Rooftoppers by Catherine Rundell. Already read this one as well. Loved it. Catherine Rundell is one of my favourite, possibly my favourite children's fiction author, excluding J.K. Rowling, obviously. But this was brilliant, really sweet, really cool. The concept of this young girl finding orphans that live on the rooftops of Paris. She goes and hangs out with them and they help her find her lost mother. It's just like a really simple story with just many sweetnesses. It's great. Like, if you haven't read Catherine Rundell, next time you're feeling sad, go and pick up one of her books. So I think we're gonna have enough time to power through the rest of the books as well. I'm speaking very fast, so if your ears can't keep up, I apologize, but I'm determined to do this in one video. The other 2 books that I need to talk about that I don't have physical copies are the 2 audiobooks that I have acquired since we last spoke, and that one of them is Mortal Engines by whoever it's by, I can't remember. I have started reading this recently and I'm really enjoying it. I wasn't expecting to. I wasn't sure what I was expecting from it, but I am loving the grunginess of it. I am loving the characters. I'm just loving the sass of the main girl in it. This has been really entertaining so far. The second audiobook that I got is Heroes by Stephen Fry. I loved Mythos, and this is the follow-up companion book to that, which is more Greek stories, so I'm very much so looking forward to reading both of these via audiobook. So whilst I was away, I was in Europe and I was in like Britain specifically, Ireland more specifically, and there they have Waterstones, which is one of my favourite bookstores in the international pool of bookstores. So of course I went there, of course I bought some books, and I also found that when I came home I had a little stack of books waiting for me that I'd been sent from publishers as well. So we're going to have a quick look at those now. The first book that I bought for myself I could not resist, and that is The Extinction Trials by S.M. Wilson. Never heard of this before, loved the cover, is blurbed as being The Hunger Games meets Jurassic Park, and I did not need to hear anything more than that. The blurb doesn't actually have much on it, but if you've read this book, if you've heard about this book, I'd love to hear if you thought it was good or not, because I'm very excited about it. Another book that I bought for myself because I could get it for half price was P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. I have been meaning to finish this series, or continue this series, for a long time, and just didn't really feel a need, but I read this one on the plane home and it was fabulous. It was just as good as the first one. Absolutely, she should have kept writing because she obviously had more to say, so looking forward to the movie for this one. The next book I bought was Empress of All Seasons by Amiko Jean. This one I'm very excited for. I love the concept of this one. So if you want to marry the prince and become like the empress to the kingdom, then you have to complete challenges in 4 different rooms according to the seasons. So you have to get through summer and autumn. Literally, I stopped reading at that point. I was sold and sold again because I love the idea of challenges like that. So I'm very excited to go into this book and find out what it is about. Now the next book I bought and came home and was sent, so it was a bit like whoops, had a double up there, but that's okay. I have palmed off one of those copies to a friend, and that is A Curse So Dark and Lonely with its silver spine by Bridget Kemmerer. This one is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and I don't need to know anything more than that, so if you want to know more than that, you can go and have a read of the blurb yourself. But I think this is going to be good because I'm really into retellings at the moment. Like, I know that they're not in vogue anymore, they're sort of so 2016 or 17, but I'm still digging them, and I'm glad we're still getting them. The next one I was sent by Pam Macmillan, I think, and that is The Age of Light by Whitney Sharer? Not sure. This one has a very interesting cover. I quite like it, and it's set in the 1920s. We've got a bit of a flapper thing going on. I think it's in America as well, in New York, and it's all about this woman's journey, I think, in being successful and all sorts of things. It's quite an in-depth blurb, so if you want to learn more about this one, go and digest that for yourself, because I will just confuse you. But I'm looking forward to reading this at some point because I think it will be a very different book. I haven't really read much set in the 1920s lately, so. The next book I was sent is massive, and that is Home Fires by Fiona Lowe. This is massive. I think it is an Australian author. This is also from Pam Macmillan, and I am looking forward to reading this. This is all about bushfires and I think some women's journeys in going through them, so this is obviously very close to home and relevant because Australia gets a lot of bushfires every summer. We have bushfires now, you've maybe heard about them on the news, so this is really cool to have some fiction on it, and I actually really like the cover for this one, so I'm, yep, gonna find some way to be brave and dive into this one because it is so big, but I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. So I then got sent another one from Harlequin Books, which I was a bit like, and it's this one. So it's called Round the Yard by Alyssa Callan. It's not really what I read. It's not really historical fiction. It's just sort of plain old chick lit with a bad cover, and it talks about her adopting 2 little red-headed cowgirls, a sassy pony and a sweet donkey, and in all honesty I didn't read much further than that because that just is like, well, no, I'm not interested. So I don't think I'm going to be reading this one, but I appreciate being sent it. I mean, maybe if you happen to have already read it, then let me know if it's worth reading, but I wasn't convinced. However, I was then sent a copy of The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chosky, which I think it was Pam Macmillan. Yes, Pam Macmillan sent me this one. Super excited because obviously this one is a big popular new release which I'm expecting to enjoy as much as I did enjoy The Cruel Prince. So I will be picking this one up soon. I feel like this is probably going to be one of the next ones I actually pick up because I'm very excited, but I obviously have a lot of choice, so who knows what I'll actually end up reading. I've heard nothing but good things about this one as well, so I have high expectations. 2 more books, guys. We are nearly there. The next book, actually, I'm going to save that one till last. So, the next book is Wicked Like a Wildfire by Lana Popovich, and I had seen this one when it was originally released, but I never got around to actually buying a copy, and I've always thought that was one that I would like to read. This one, people have the ability to gleam, so in this family it's like a hereditary ability to use magic and manipulate things, and I believe there's a curse on the family that they find out, and it's all about saving each other and all sorts of things. So I've heard some good things, I've heard some average things, so I'm very keen to dive in myself and make my own opinion of this one. Plus I love the cover. There's really not that many purple books in this sort of eggplant colour out there, so it's very eye-catching. So this final beautiful book I found in Dublin when I was there in Hodges Fidges, and that is The Binding by Bridget Collins. And I was talking about this on my blog post about books that were coming out in February, or in January, sorry, that I was excited to read, and I had tried to pick this up 2 times. I'd gone into several bookstores and been like, maybe, and I was like, oh, I've got to be able to take them all back on the plane home. Weight allowances are tricky when you're buying books. But then I saw the hardback. Let me show you what it looks like naked. Isn't it gorgeous? Look at all the gold foil on it, and it's got like a proper old spine. This book is the most beautiful thing to have graced the planet, and it has lovely end pages as well. The whole thing is just absolutely stunning. I'm so excited about how lovely this book is. So when I saw that, I was like, I have to buy it. Like, it would be wrong of me to walk away and not give it a home. So I did buy it. This one is all about a boy who gets recruited in to be like a binder for books, and that's not a profession that they want to be in this world for certain reasons. But that's all I can remember about it. Because he's usually a farmer, and then he's summoned. So he is summoned to become an apprentice, and his parents can't afford to say no. They have to let him go and be this apprentice. So he's going to learn to handcraft books, which is why I'm glad they've put in this effort, because when a book is about the binding, I feel like you've got to be like, this is what proper binding is. Imagine if all of our books look like this. That would be amazing. I think the idea of this book is that he learns through his craft that in binding a book you can capture a memory or forget a memory sort of thing. That kind of magic of capturing something within its pages. So I feel like it's like a library of memories is what he's going to end up making. So I'm very, very excited to read this, especially because it is just so gorgeous. So I was going to try and pick up all the books and hold them, but it's just too many. 31 books, guys. That's how many we just told. 31 books, and it wasn't even like an hour-long video. I'm really impressed. I already have some more books to share with you for February. Just one at the moment though, I think. It's just one, so let's not panic too much. But I'm sure I will manage to accrue more, so stress not, my book buying habits have not died out. But we're gonna end this very long video here, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.